Everyone, you're going to have to bear with me a little bit today. I've got a little bit of a head cold, so I may sound a little bit nasally. But we're in Chapter 2 now. In Chapter 2, we've got some learning objectives that I want you to know or be familiar with, especially for this class and how they relate to internal auditing. The first learning object I'd like you to know here today is the history behind professional guidance for internal auditing. Okay, this is on pages 4 through 11 through your book. The Institute of Internal Auditors established these first guidelines in about 1947. So they have some age to them. They've been revised several times throughout the 60s, 70s. These were revised. In the 1970s, these were revised to have a code of ethics. These code of ethics were very, very important. The reason being is because accounting started to grow more robustly. With the more robust internal auditing, we obviously needed a code of ethics. Okay? In 2002, the IPPF, which you should be familiar with now, established a new set of rules. Okay? This included 32 languages. The reason we needed multiple languages is we started doing business internationally. We needed to have some kind of rules for everyone to follow. Okay, so this brings us to number 2, the second learning objective. Describe the structure of the IPPF. The structure is fairly easy to understand. It's based off of 3 big things. They are independence and objectivity, proficiency, and due professional care. These will come up all the time in auditing. They're very, very important, especially to the internal auditor. Independence and objectivity. Objectivity. It is based off the mental attitude that you're unbiased in your work. Even if you're employed by this employer, you still have to be unbiased. You have to be able to report things that you see. That there's no significant compromises between you and your work. You're not going to say, because they employ me, I'll let this slide. That cannot happen in internal auditing. Proficiency. You have to have a level of knowledge, a skill level of knowledge, that is capable of doing their work. There's no specific set that says you have to have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a PhD to be able to be an internal auditor. But you have to have some kind of competency, you have to have some kind of skill level to perform the duties that you're asked to do. You have to have some kind of knowledge base. The last one is due professional care. Now, Standard 1220 of the IPPF guidance states that due professional care requires auditors to apply the care and skill expected of a reasonably and prudent internal auditor. Okay, so you have to have the ability to go in there and do things that are mandated, things that you need to do for this company, and that you'll do it well. The third thing in the learning objectives is the big PDF file that I uploaded, and it's the mandatory IPPF guidance. Now, there is a PDF file I'd like you to open and breeze and go through. It would help you a lot. In this, it has a code of ethics, an introduction to the code of ethics, and what to expect in there. Okay? There are more than I can go over in a 3 to 5 minute video in this code of ethics, but I want to hit on some things that I think are important. Okay? The principles that are relevant to profession and practice of internal auditing. The rules of conducts. They describe the behaviors that are normal and expected of internal auditors. Now, some internal auditors are going to go beyond that, but there's an expectation set for internal auditors. Those rules are an aid to interpreting the principles. The principles are key here. So anything that happens in the internal auditing landscape, these rules can guide you. They are a practical application and intended to guide the ethical conduct. Ethics is a large part of auditing. Okay? Very large. That code of ethics is necessary and appropriate to the profession of internal auditing because it is basically the trust of those that you work for. They want to make sure that you're objective. They want to make sure that you understand risk management and control. Now, I've touched on the basics. You're still going to have to get into the book and read some things, but I wanted to make sure I highlighted some things for you to review. Have a great week, and I will see you in Chapter 3.